Yo, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So the new year's around the corner and I just wanted to squeeze sort of one last video before the year ends. With 2026 coming up, everyone's got their goals of what they want to achieve, the kind of things that they want to do next year. And I feel like it's kind of hard to achieve goals if you're not somewhat consistent in the action that you take. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. I want to talk about why most people, especially eyes, struggle with consistency and just some tips and tricks or some changes that you can make to stay more consistent with your practice or whatever it is that you want to achieve. So let's get into it now. So first up, I just want to kind of go over why I think most artists, especially beginner artists, struggle with consistency. I have a little bit of a theory on this, so this is not necessarily true or false, it's just something that I think is the reason why, and it's just something that I've observed over the years, so let me know whether you agree with it or not. So when you're starting out, I feel like most beginners who are wanting to learn how to draw and paint tend to be on the younger side. So that's people all the way from like 12, 13 years old, all the way up until like, I would say latest early to mid 20s, somewhere around there. You're obviously going to have people outside of that bubble who are wanting to learn how to draw and paint, so people in like the 30s, 40s, 50s. Because most beginner artists tend to be on the young side, I feel like they kind of don't have any real experience committing to something major in their lives, because let's face it, when you're young, all you're pretty much doing is like going to school or like chilling with your mates and stuff. And if you make sort of like that active decision that I want to learn how to draw and paint, I want to get better at this particular thing, that might be the first real thing in your life that you have made a genuine decision for and you want to embark on that journey. And if it's the first time that you've done something like that, then it might come as a little bit of a shock as to how much work that you'll need to put in. Your expectations are not going to be very realistic about the amount of work that needs to be done to actually get to a high level of mastery at a certain thing, or like to learn a new skill. So that's usually, I feel like, the main problem that beginners face when they're getting into learning how to draw and paint, because they don't have that consistency, or sorry, they don't have the experience actually putting in like a lot of work ethic, or they might have unrealistic expectations and stuff. That's why it's hard for them to stay consistent, because it comes as a little bit of a shock to them. Now on the flip side, if you are older, like for example if you're 30s, 40s, 50 years old, and you're wanting to learn how to draw and paint, the good news for you is you've been on this planet for a longer period of time. You will have learned more skills and you will have started from zero more times than a younger person would have. But again, the problem with being older is you tend to have more responsibilities. You know, you'll have kids and a family or like bills and stuff to pay, unless you're like you're unemployed or some shit. Yeah, that tends to be like the thing with older people, like they have more responsibilities, so they have a more realistic expectation of what it takes and they're more willing to take on the sacrifice, but they don't have the actual time that's needed to actually dedicate themselves to getting better at a fast rate. It's kind of like one of those things, the younger people have the time but they don't have the work ethic or the experience, so it's harder for them to stay consistent. But with the older people, they know what it takes. They don't have those unrealistic expectations. They're very realistic in what is needed to get good, but they have all of the responsibilities and the lack of time as well. So I feel like that's kind of my theory as to why most beginners find it hard to be consistent when they're first starting out. Okay, so how do we sort of like actually overcome this, and how do we become more consistent in like our practice or making artwork and stuff? So I think to get better at drawing or painting, you should try your best to draw or paint every day, if that is possible. It's kind of hard to stay consistent as something, whether it's drawing or anything else in life, if you don't engage in the activity as often as you can, or at least every day. For example, it's like going to the gym. If you're trying to get in better shape, or you know, if you're trying to get stronger, whatever, you need to be consistent in your practice. You need to be showing up to the gym and putting in the work and doing all of that sort of stuff, and that's the only way that you'll be able to see your results and see yourself progress over a certain period of time. The same thing just applies with drawing. So I think it's hard to stay consistent as something if you don't engage in that activity every day. So try your best to draw as often as you possibly can. And on the topic of drawing every day, I think you should learn to draw or paint regardless of your mood or regardless of how you feel. You don't have to feel good to draw. I feel like there's this kind of notion drawing is something that's supposed to make you feel good, or you know, X, Y, and Z. Drawing and painting is just drawing and painting. Whether you want to do it or not, or whether it's something that you want to get better at, that's up to you and your goals. And the decisions that you're willing to make. But it's something that you can do regardless of how you feel. Like, you don't have to be in a good mood, or you don't have to feel inspired to draw. You should just learn how to draw regardless of how you're feeling or regardless of your mood. So whether you're happy, tired, excited, sad, whatever, just try your best to be consistent and get to the desk regardless of how you're feeling, and then you'll be able to put in that work. Because what you have to understand is that the more that you learn how to do this, the more it actually affects your character as a person. So you will be able to be a reliable person who can actually get things done regardless of how they feel. Because let's face it, you're not going to be feeling happy or excited 7 days a week. Some days something's going to go wrong, or you're just going to wake up in a bad mood or something, and you're just going to have to perform regardless of how you feel. So it's the same thing that really applies with drawing. Just learn how to draw paint regardless of how you're feeling or regardless of your mood. When you're trying to draw every day, just draw with the hours that you have. So not everyone is going to have the same amount of time. Some people are going to have more time than others. Some people are going to have less. But just draw with what you have. Even if you only have 1 hour a day that you can dedicate to drawing, if that's the only thing that you can do, then just do it. Like, it's better than doing no drawing, isn't it? Like, if you still get some work in, that's better than nothing. So obviously, the more time that you put into it, ideally, the faster rate of progress you will see. But it just goes to say, just draw regardless of your mood, and just draw with the hours that you have. And I promise you, just that act of consistency, you will see yourself progress at a quick pace than someone who doesn't have that skill or that characteristic. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I've just got a few tips that I've written down on, how to stay consistent and basically things like that. So the first thing is reducing any kind of friction that you might have. So if you are genuinely serious about learning how to draw and paint, if you want to get to a really good level and it's a decision that you've made, drawing should at least be a high priority, if not a number one priority for you in your life, for you to sort of dedicate yourself towards. You should be removing anything that would cause any kind of friction. So try to remove any kind of distractions that you have. So if you're a guy who's addicted to your phone, for example, if you've got like a severe case of brain rot, try to put your phone in a different room or hide it. Do whatever you need to do, airplane mode, or like try to change the room that you're drawing in. If you've got a lot of distractions, you've got like video games, your phone, people around, that kind of thing, try to go to a room where you can actually sit down, focus, it's quiet, and you can actually get some work done. So that's really the first main thing, reducing that friction by taking away those distractions so you can actually get some legitimate work done. Also, you don't need any kind of, if you draw first thing in the morning, like some people like to draw first thing in the morning if they have the time, you don't need any kind of elaborate morning routine or anything like that. So these dickheads online that tell you to like jump in, do a cold plunge or coffee, this, that, blah blah blah. You don't need to do any of that. All of that stuff is just time that you're taking away from you actually practicing and getting better. So elaborate morning routines, just completely fucking disregard that information. You don't need to do anything like that. What you need to do is you just need to reduce the friction. So try to get to the desk as quick as possible. Like, for example, that's if you're one of those people who has time in the morning, that's the time that you want to dedicate to drawing. Just get to the desk as soon as possible. Don't try to do any kind of morning ritual or routine or try to get into the rhythm of anything. Just develop that skill or that habit of you getting to the desk regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's going on. Try to remove those distractions, and that is the best way that you can reduce any kind of friction that will stop you from messing up or fucking up your consistency or anything like that. Also, for reducing friction, just try to prepare ahead of time. So for example, if you're like copying from reference, like you're wanting to learn how to draw hands or something, try to prepare your reference ahead of time. So like open up a Pure folder or like a Photoshop document, wherever it is, and just get like all of the images from Pinterest or Google Images of like the hands that you want to draw, whatever it is that you want to practice. Just prepare your references or prepare your studying material ahead of time. So at least when you get to the desk, you're not spending time and faffing around trying to go and find references or images and stuff like that. So try to be prepared ahead of time. For example, as well, if you're drawing from a book, just make sure that you know which book you're drawing from, or like you've got the pages ready, so at least when you get to the desk you can just get to work straight away. Really, that's the main things that are going to help you. So just reducing the friction and being aware and clear of what it is that you want to improve on, and being prepared ahead of time is just going to help you to sort of stop procrastinating, and it'll allow you to be more consistent over time. So that's the first main thing. moving on to the next thing, find the best time that you have to draw. So for me, because my schedule allows it, my job allows it, I can draw first thing when I get up, I can draw first thing in the morning. So if you're someone who's like that, then just try to find the best time that you can draw, that you can operate. If you're one of those people who finds it easier to draw later into the night, or like, at night when everyone's asleep, I wouldn't really recommend it because, again, you'll be fucking up your sleeping schedule and that just causes other issues for you down the line. It can cause you to feel groggy or tired and stuff. So try your best to draw sometime during the day, but, experiment and see, like, is there a specific time of the day that you find that you're more productive or your brain feels more alert, you're able to get more work done? If you can find what that time is and you feel like you're consistent during that time, then that's just easy. Just make sure that you're consistently drawing every day and you're consistently drawing at that time, and then that way you'll be able to make progress as well. Alright, and the final thing, something that's really helped me stay consistent over the years is drawing exercises. So I don't know if you guys are aware, like, the Peter Hand exercises, where like you just draw like a bunch of circles, ellipses, straight lines, that kind of thing. I feel like those have really helped me stay consistent. Like, even if I don't have certain days, I won't have much time to draw, maybe I can only dedicate like 30 minutes, for example. Just doing some of those exercises and stuff helps me at least get to the desk and put some work in. And the days where I'm not feeling like I want to draw, I don't feel creative or inspired to do anything, when I get to the desk and I put some of those circles and I do a few of those scribbles and some of those drawing exercises and stuff, I feel like I kind of just get into a good groove and a good rhythm, and then I'm able to like just be a little bit more productive, or I get in the mood to draw and create something. So drawing exercises is something that has really helped me over the years. Doesn't have to be too long, like doesn't have to be an hour long, even if it's like 5 or 10 minutes. It's good because it helps you to sort of like warm up the muscles, and like at least if you're, for example, if you're starting a big project, if you do some drawing exercises beforehand, you feel like you've got the correct tempo and the correct rhythm and like the right mood for you to start really getting into that project and stuff. So drawing exercises is good. As well, the more drawing exercises you do over time, the better you'll get at drawing as well, because it builds hand-eye coordination. It's like a quick way for you to kind of level up extremely fast. Obviously, the faster that you get better, the more inspired you'd be, the more happy you'll be with your results, and that will in turn allow you to be more consistent over time. So those are just sort of like a few main things, really, like, just to kind of recap that. Just staying consistent by reducing any kind of friction that you might have, distractions, getting to the desk as soon as possible, preparing your references or your study material ahead of time, finding the best times that you can draw, just experiment drawing at different times of the day, see what works for you, what makes you feel the most productive. And then finally, drawing exercises just helps with basic hand-eye coordination, helps you to warm up, just gives you a reason for you to get to the desk and stay consistent, gives you a reason to draw something. So those are really just sort of like the main things that you can do. Yeah, man, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about on this topic. Consistency is one of those things, like, there really isn't that much to talk about. Like, you already know what it is that you need to do to get better and to practice. You just kind of have to get to the desk and do what needs to be done. There's really not much more that I can add to this. There's no silver bullet when it comes to this stuff. Some things are just kind of like hard work. You just have to put the work in. Consistency as well is like a characteristic, it's a personality trait. It's something that you can develop over time. Try your best not just to be consistent with art, but to be consistent with everything that you decide that you want to get better at. If you find yourself really cultivating that habit and actually becoming more consistent with things over time, becoming consistent with art and learning how to become a better artist is going to be easy for you. You'll have that realistic expectation of what's needed for you to become a better artist. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to sort of go over and discuss on this topic. To finish off the video, there's a really good quote by Denzel Washington that says, "Without commitment, you'll never start, but without consistency, you'll never finish." Fire fucking quote. Yeah, that's literally it. Like, you've made the commitment, you've decided that you want to get better and you want to learn how to draw and paint and get really good at this stuff. Now you just need the consistency to actually see those things through. This is true whether it's learning how to become a master at drawing or painting, or whether you're drawing or painting a project or doing something for a client or a customer. You've made the commitment, now you just need the consistency to finish. Trust me, it's something that you can cultivate. It's not something that you're born with, it's not a genetics thing. It's something that you can genuinely work towards and you can get better at it. So thank you guys for listening to my little ramble session. That's kind of everything that I want to discuss. And if you've got anything that has helped you stay consistent, or anything that you want to add, or if you agree with my little theory from earlier on in the video, please let me know in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, all of that good shit, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.